What is going on, guys? My name is Landon. Today I am bringing you guys yet again another video. Before we get into today's topic, I want to recommend you guys something. I don't normally do this, but I want to recommend you a series on Netflix called The Making a Murderer. Now, I'm not sponsored by them. This is not a sponsorship deal, obviously, because Landon's not sponsored by Netflix, but I highly recommend you guys go and watch this 10-part documentary. It's really, really interesting. Whenever I heard about it, I was very skeptical. I'm like, why is this? Why are people talking about it? I thought that it was just a regular TV show, but it's not. It's a documentary about basically a murder that happens. It's really interesting. It's not what you think it is, I promise, it's very relatable because it actually did happen. It's not a fake event. It's not all acted. This is 100% real, and I highly recommend that you guys go and watch it. Since the PSN servers have been down for the last couple of hours, they actually recently came on. I've been binge watching the Making a Murderer episodes, and the last two that I needed to watch happened while the PS4 servers were down. Thankfully, they're back up now. It was like really convenient for me because as soon as I was finished watching it, those came up. But yeah, I just highly recommend that you guys go and watch that. I don't normally do this type of thing, like I said, but I just want you guys to watch it because it really kind of changed my perspective on a lot of things. So I just want to let you guys know about that. So now it's time to hop into today's topic of a CSGO team, which has been announced under the name of OpTic Gaming. It has finally happened. OpTic has finally signed the deal, and they've found a CSGO team for them to kind of compete under and to have as a roster. The old team was actually under the name of Conquest, and the roster that is now under the name of OpTic Gaming is Navfly, Rush, Stainslaw, Daps, and Shazam. So the beginning of all of this, how this kind of got started was maybe like a couple of weeks ago on the CSGO Reddit, where Hex had actually commented and said, expect to see OpTic CSGO stickers coming soon. And he actually put it on Twitter and said, I haven't had full access to that account in a long time. Whether that happened or not, that was our first little hint at something is possible to having OpTic finally have a CSGO team, because it was rumored the old TSM roster for CSGO was looking for an organization, and everyone was thinking, oh, that's going to be OpTic. It has to be OpTic. There's only one opportunity for it to be. It has to be OpTic. Well, it's not. They actually picked up a much different team, and the fact that this is not as big of a deal. I would say it's a big deal, but it's not as big of a move as the envious, grabbing a CSGO team kind of was. For the fact that the CSGO team that Envy picked up is a very, very good roster. Very solid team, and the fact that those guys are probably one of the top 2, if not top 3 teams right now in CSGO. I'm not an expert at all in CSGO, so I'm trying to take all the information that I do know about it. But when it comes to NA CSGO, everyone knows that that's kind of like a lower caliber of CSGO play. The NA is kind of considered a joke, to be honest. But either way, this is a really, really important thing for the Call of Duty side of things. Now, I'm not making a video talking about only CSGO. I'm not trying to get it because it has OpTic in its name. I'm talking about it because the effects that now CSGO and Call of Duty have yet again with a previous known kind of only based Call of Duty organization now getting involved with the CSGO scene. And how this all got announced actually was the other day. There was a Vision episode for OpTic. If you guys aren't familiar with Vision, it's basically like a weekly series that kind of keeps up with OpTic, what they're doing, and how things are going down, whether it's them practicing for a Call of Duty tournament or whatever they're kind of up to. And obviously the CSGO thing is a major deal for them, and they actually had at the end of a Vision episode a kind of like a little hint at one of these CSGO players knocking on the door to kind of enter in and say, hey, I heard you were looking for a CSGO team, which was actually Shazam from the old Conquest squad. And today, for me, might have been a couple days ago for you guys, it has been announced in an official video from them that they had actually picked up a CSGO team, being Shazam squad. So the guy at the door was actually the team that they had picked up. So I know I kind of backtracked there, but my thoughts on this expansion is great. Any expansion to other esports, especially one as profitable, one as big and as large as the CSGO scene, which is constantly growing, is fantastic. I look at it from the Call of Duty perspective, and I always say, whenever we have organizations who are interested in the Call of Duty scene, who are in different ones, or when Call of Duty organizations get big enough to where they can expand into other esports, I think that is great. I think fan loyalty is also a major, major deal, because a lot of these esports fans aren't just fans of one esport. Now, obviously, you're going to be fans of one esport primarily. You might be a CSGO fan primarily. You might be a Call of Duty fan primarily. You might be, League of Legends, Dota 2, whatever it may be. Any esport that you like, you might be primarily that one. But you also might know of other esports where the team that you support in your primary esport might have other teams in other esports. I know I said like esports and teams like 5 times there, but fan loyalty, brand loyalty is a major deal when it comes to esports. When you see the big names, your favorite organizations, whenever they expand to other esports, you automatically are intrigued for the fact that one organization that you already know, one that you follow, one that you respect, one that you love, is now involved with another team. And a lot of the time, fans will kind of automatically be drawn to that esport because it's a name they recognize, it's a name they know, it's a name that they respect. And we all know the OpTic Gaming fans. I mean, if you're involved with the Call of Duty scene, maybe if you even are one, you know how passionate your fellow or the other OpTic Gaming fans can be. You know, whether how delusional or how rude they can really be. They're very passionate. There's a lot of guys who support the OpTic Gaming team, no matter what esport they're in, whether it's OpTic Nation, OpTic Gaming, OpTic Halo, whatever it may be. They've always been there, and they're always going to support the Green Wall, to say the least. And obviously, with a major deal of OpTic Gaming, winning the Esports Team of the Year was such a massive deal because it was a Call of Duty team who's not really respected in the esports scene. I mean, honestly, if you look at other esports, a lot of people will say, oh, Call of Duty, that's a joke. But us coming out there, and I say us as the Call of Duty scene, the OpTic Gaming included, that they were able to win that on a fan vote over a team, Evil Geniuses, who won an $18 million prize pool, one of the biggest esports prize pools ever, and other CSGO teams like Fnatic, who were insanely good, and were some of the most talented players in all of esports. OpTic Gaming comes up against them with a very positive and big fan base, but yet an esport that's not as big as them. They were able to win that, and that just goes to show how big, how passionate Call of Duty esports fans, especially OpTic Gaming fans, can be. And now that they're kind of being introduced to the CSGO scene and just the esports awards, and now with an actual roster, it's going to be very interesting to see how they can kind of intertwine, how the two are going to react with one another. And like I said earlier, brand loyalty is going to be a massive deal. This is going to provide a number of different things that CSGO fans of all likes, or whether they're other esports fans who are just fans of CSGO, either way, CSGO watchers are going to see the OpTic Gaming name and realize, I've heard that name before. Or if they turn on a Call of Duty stream, if they happen to see the name OpTic Gaming, they're going to recognize that. OpTic Gaming, whether you believe it or not, is going to gain some fans, it's going to gain some traction. Players and the fans who watch their favorite brands play, watch their favorite organizations play, they realize and say, hey, I recognize that name. I'm going to watch this esport, or going to watch this game because I respect this organization. I support this organization. I support the players who play under this name, and so on and so forth. That's going to kind of carry over. So the OpTic fans who, and honestly, I can say a lot of Call of Duty fans are also kind of becoming introduced to the CSGO scene as far as a number of different reasons. For the fact of Envious, for the fact of the amount of growth that CSGO has had over this year, a fellow FPS, growing as much as they have been. So now the Call of Duty scene is in full force. Like you say, the Green Wall is full forced and kind of in untracked territory that they've never been in before. While this announcement did happen today, we saw, I believe Hiko from Liquid, who's a very well-known CSGO player, was kind of talking about CSGO fans and OpTic fans kind of meeting together. I believe Thorn, who is a very well-known CSGO analyst, was also kind of talking about, I'm your worst nightmare, nice to meet you. Like, it's like an introduction that a massive amount of Call of Duty fans are now being introduced to the CSGO fans, and so on and so forth. It's going to be very interesting to see how those two kind of intertwine with one another. I want to say massive congratulations to both Hex and everyone in the OpTic Gaming organization, not just because they're OpTic, but because I would say this to anyone because of how big of a deal this really actually is. Now, granted, this is not the biggest CSGO team that we've seen a Call of Duty organization pick up, but I think any expansion like this is good expansion. It's healthy for any esport, and it's only going to help esports like Call of Duty grow. Now, the massive rumor is FaZe going to kind of follow in that same path? There's been rumors of FaZe, wanting to pick up a CSGO team. They've been to a couple of events for CSGO, much like Hex has for OpTic Gaming. Will they kind of follow in OpTic Gaming's footsteps, or even Envious's footsteps as well? And that's going to be rumored that we're going to have to figure out. Who will TSM, the other CSGO roster who is currently looking for a team, a very good team for CSGO, will they kind of find that FaZe team? That's going to be a major question to be kind of looking out for. So guys, that's going to kind of do it for today's video. I just wanted to kind of bring this up. It's obviously not to talk about CSGO, but it's also kind of talking about the two intertwined and how the Call of Duty scene may be affected by all of this. So like I said, massive congratulations to OpTic Gaming. If you guys have any opinions about any of this stuff, feel free to put it down in the comments. I always look at every single one of the comments, and your guys' thoughts and your guys' ideas mean a lot to me. So feel free to do so. If you guys were entertained or just liked the video in general, make sure to leave a like and make sure to subscribe if you guys are new for I wouldn't say daily content, but content coming out a lot more rapidly than it has in the past. So guys, I will see you all later. Have a fantastic day, and until next time, peace out.